دیبەیتێکی گرنگ سەبارەت بە پەنابەران دوێنێ لە شاری بێرمینگهام ئەنجام درا گرنگە هەموو پەنابەرێک لە وڵاتی بەریتانیادا بیبینێت بەناوی خی گەورە هیوادارم هەموو لاکتان باش و لەش ساخن دوێنێ دەی نۆی 2025 لە شاری بێرمینگهام دیبەیتێکی گرنگ سەبارەت بە پەنابەران لە وڵاتی بەریتانیا ئەنجام درا گرنگە بەوە هەموو کەسێک کە پەنابەر لە وڵاتی بەریتانیا بیبینێ بۆی بزانێت ڕای شەخامی بەریتانی و سیاسەکان چێ سەبارەت بە پەنابەران و هەندێک قسەی وای تێداکراوە کە گرنگە تۆ بیزانیت بۆی من لەم ڤیددیوێدا چەند ڤیددیۆکتان بۆ دادانین بە ژێرنووسی کورتی خۆشتان دوای چون بە دۆداچون بکەن سەیری هەموو ڤیددیۆکان بکەن کە لە کەناڵی سکای نیوز کراوە هیوادارم کەەوە ئەم ڤیددیۆ بڵاو بکەنەوە شێر و کۆمنت و لایک بکەن سەیری بکەن بۆی کە زۆرترین کەس ببینێ و بزانێت کە چی دەگوزارێت چوار کەسایەتی سیاسی تێدا بەشدار بوون لەوانە زیا یوسف لە پارتی چاکسازی مایک تایپ لە پارتی کرێکاران دکتۆر کیران لە پارتی پارێزگەران و هەروەها لیزا سمارت لە پارتی لیبرال دیموکرات بەڕێزانی من ئەوەی کەوا لەو دیبەیتەدا باسکرا ڕاوبۆچوونی سیاسەکان بوو هەر پارتێک بوو و هەروەها پرسیاری خەڵک بوو سەبارەت بە پەنابەران هەر یەک لە سیاسەکانی وەکو بوو جەماعەتی پارتی چاکسازی زیا یوسف باسییانێک کە ژماری پەنابەران لێسەدا زۆرن و هەمویان کۆک بوون لەسەرەوەی کە بەڵێ سیستەمی پەنابەری لە وڵاتی بەریتانیا پێویستی بە چاکسازیە لێستەدا وەکو جاران نییە تێکشکاوە سیستەمەکە پێویستی بۆ یەکەوە چاکسازی بکرێ لە لایشترانێ بەشداروان پێیان وایە کەوا بوونی پەنابەران لە وڵاتی بەریتانیا گرنگە لەبەروی زۆربەی شوێنەکان لێستەدا پەنابەران پڕیان کردێتەوە هەندێک کار هەیەکەوە هەندێک کار هەیە کە تەنها پەنابەران دەتوانن بیکەن و خەڵکە ڕستانەکەی وڵاتە ناتوانێت بیکا بۆیە گرنگە بوونی پەنابەران خۆتان بینەری ڤیددیۆکان بن و هەروەها خۆشتان سەیری ڤیددیۆکانی تر بکەن بۆ گرنگیشە بۆیە گرنگە بۆی زانیاریتان هەبێت کە لێسەدا چی دەگوزرێت لە وڵاتی بەریتانیادا بینەر بن و بڵای بکەنانێ زۆر سپاس.
Before we get into Sky News immigration debate, it's worth pausing for a moment just to ask ourselves, why is this stirring up so much anger on all sides?
There's a huge counter-demonstration of Muslim people.
We want our country back.
Whole streets!
Our streets!
Whole streets!
Our streets!
If you talk to people here in Birmingham, you start to get a sense of why people who normally aren't that interested in politics are getting so wound up. The city's experienced waves of migration over the past few decades. The Irish navvies who dug the canals, the Caribbeans like my family who came and staffed the hospitals and the transport, the South Asians who started grocers shops and pharmacies. It's hard to imagine this or any other big British city without these people. But over the past few years, a new kind of picture has emerged. What you hear are complaints about the length of queues in doctors' surgeries, about the shortage of homes for rent, about the number of different languages being spoken in nursery classes. And it's worth saying that some of the loudest complainants are actually the descendants of those previous waves of migrants. And there's now an ugly edge to this conversation. People seem to think that if you don't agree with them, then you're not an opponent to be debated with, you're somebody to be silenced. And if you happen to be flying the wrong flag, then you're an enemy to be defeated. But this gives us some sense of how deep the passions here are and how dangerous this moment in British life could become.
Is this a disgusting slur or someone who gets the public mood?
People have turned up on the beaches illegally, uninvited. The majority of them men, the majority of them fighting age men. By the way, that is more people. That is more people, Mike. That is more people than stormed the beaches.
But you will do nothing for this country.
That is more people than stormed the beaches of Normandy on D-Day. And you are advocating.
So we've just come off air after Sky's immigration debate, and it was a testy affair. The audience were unhappy. The panel hit back hard. But what's interesting is one moment of unity where they all gave the same answer to this question.
I just want to know, does legal immigration benefit the UK and their contribution?
All four panellists felt that immigration could bring benefits. Even Zia Youssef from Reform, who said that his parents between them had contributed 50 years to the NHS. They all also said the current system is broken. But that was where the consensus ended. What was striking from our audience, and you could see the passion that they had, was actually there might be some danger ahead for Labour. The party has adopted stark positions, toughening its language around immigration, but audience members, well, some of them really concerned for the welfare of people fleeing for their lives and want them looked after. Could it be that Labour is going in one direction and might end up losing other parts of its electoral coalition by being so tough?
I think the country relies on it. I think for some people it's an inconvenient truth, but if you look in any average hospital, you'll see there's a lot of immigrants doing the jobs that, to be frank, white British people don't want to do. That's always been the way for decades and decades.
Immigration legally, I don't see as a problem because obviously we do need that in the country. I went to the dentist on Monday and there was a Pakistani dentist that treated me. If we didn't have immigration, we would be nowhere in this country and we would be ruined. Illegal immigration, on the other hand, is something I do not agree with. There is multiple people coming over in dinghies who we don't know who they are, we don't know who they're related to, we don't know how old they are.
The whole debate on immigration is a smokescreen because the likes of Farage and Conservatives and Labour government don't want to deal with the real issues that are facing this country.
I do feel like we really do need to get a handle on small boat crossings and people that are coming over illegally.
From an economic perspective, if 100 immigrants come over and one of them's entrepreneurial and creates jobs for both the local population and those other 99 immigrants, we're short of talent. They spend their money locally. I think immigration is very important.
I think when it comes to illegal immigration, we've all got a united stand. They shouldn't be coming here. If they are, it's got to go through a proper process. But immigration in general has its positives, without a doubt, provided that the people that come here are actually assimilating into society. I'm obviously a Pakistani Muslim. My parents came here in the 60s. We've assimilated. I believe I'm a good advocate of immigration.
We're just focusing on numbers when actually behind the numbers is real people and real people who have a right to their well-being.
The immigration at the moment is out of control and it needs to be done for, you know, not just for the sake of the people in the country, but for the sake of the people trying to come into the country.
Compassion is also missing from the debate. At the end of the day, these people that are coming over are people, and within the kind of abstractness of small boats and crossings, there are people at the heart of each family, each boat, each story.
It's grown out of control. It needs reining in, it needs managing. And it needs to be sustainable moving forward to benefit the economy and various other things.
As this type of immigration is, I think, less than 4% of all immigration into the country, I'm quite astounded as to why it's given such coverage and endless dedicated conversation, because I really don't think it's the most important thing that we need to be discussing.
We are very quickly falling into a narrative that is quite racist and not what I grew up believing that true British values were.
I wanted to see some more collaboration about the things that we can do together to move forward. So immigration is good, it's healthy, it brings different cultures into our own lives, but let's handle this sensitively with love and care.
The infrastructure has to be there to support immigration, but that's not the fault of immigrants, that's the fault of an underfunded state sector. It's the oldest trick in the book, really. It's deflect away from the real issues, which is where the money actually goes, and say, it's the fault of immigrants using all your infrastructure up. But actually, we don't expand the infrastructure in this country, and we haven't in decades, because it's not profitable to do.
Giving people back their hotels. I want to know why that is more important than the rights of the people living in them, who, by the way, are having like a terrible time. They're not living in the Ritz. I support them as a charity worker. They've got lice, they've got bed bugs, they're not getting any money, they're not getting any food. Why does that matter more than someone who fancies a trip to a hotel? And what are you all doing to actually make sure that those people are safe in a UK that is full of far-right violence directed against those people? I also really want to know how any of you can sleep at night knowing that you are enabling a genocide where 100,000
let's just deal with one.
people
Let's
have
deal with
died.
one question at a time. And this is an interesting one. Sure. This is one for you, Kieran Mullen, because it was the Conservatives who really started the use of asylum hotels. How do you respond to that sense of anger?
Well, Trevor, I'll pick up directly on the question that you posed earlier to Lisa.
Which is
which is to say that if people are choosing, if they're making a choice to come here from France, France is not a war-torn country. It is a civilised democracy where they are perfectly able to secure access to the rights that you would expect any asylum seeker to be able to obtain. So I don't accept, and my constituents don't accept the moral... Sorry, they don't accept the moral framing that you're putting on it, and I don't either, because actually, if you're choosing to enter a country illegally in a way that we don't support as a nation, then I'm afraid that my sympathy for you is not as high as it would otherwise be.